All right, as we start our unit on the North versus the South, we're going to talk about this region, the northeastern United States, and its economy during the pre-Civil War days, and why that kind of helps lead and build up to not only the Civil War, but also the North, as many would refer to it in the American Civil War, also known as the Union, and their success in the Civil War. Most known for factories during this time period. You saw machines like this where they're running threads through. Young girls, young children often worked in these factories. Immigrants from European nations who had made their way to major cities like Boston, New York, Philadelphia worked in a lot of these factories. So you have this influx or this new group of people coming from around the world, and they come into these very poor paying jobs, and in many cases you can see dangerous jobs. These young children working on these machines where they're having to press down to make the machine operate. Um, there were often mangled hands, mangled feet that would fall into these machines. So a dangerous work environment in the Northeast. Very much about the idea of mass production, meaning that we're only not only making one of something, we're making thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of something, and also the idea of having an assembly line or machines that are operated by humans. Um, in the West Virginia area, especially, but also throughout parts of the Northeast, but kind of on the border of what we call um, the Mid-Atlantic states, coal would become a huge part. Now, West Virginia was not a state during the 1850s. It won't become a state until a post-Civil War era. But states of Virginia and going into Pennsylvania, the coal mining regions were huge. They produced, these young children would go in, they would get the coal that would produce the energy to run the factories and the machines. Here you get another idea of what a typical factory would look like during this time period. Conversely, the South had an agricultural revolution and an agricultural economy. They didn't have much industry. You didn't have many machine shops. You didn't have many kids working on machines in the South. However, you had kids working on farms. And obviously, the worst thing about the South during this time period was slavery. Um, Slavery was common throughout the South. However, as we study, you're going to find that not everybody owned slaves, and in fact, most people did not own slaves, but many who did own slaves owned multiple numbers of slaves. So we're going to talk about this culture, the agricultural society versus the industrialized society. Now, one thing I want you to understand is that both have a workforce that they mistreat, but only one has a workforce that's enslaved, and that's in the South. And that obviously is a key cause of the American Civil War. This is the product, cotton, and we're going to talk about Eli Whitney and his invention, the cotton gin, which and how that works later on this week. And the disparity between the slaves and the people that they worked for. People they worked for lived in these homes, grand mansions known as plantations. So, on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week, we're going to start talking about the differences between the northern states and the southern states. Look forward to talking with you about it.